Welcome into Opposing Viewpoints Lions Edition. I'm Tatum Everett, and the Vikings are looking to get back in the win column when they welcome in NFC North rival, the Lions. And we've got Eric Smith, the Vikings team reporter, joining us per usual to give us the purple and gold perspective. And Eric, it's just really a matchup of two teams desperate for wins right now.
Yeah, desperate for wins. We're still early in the season, week 5, so there's still a way to go, but you can tell there's some excitement being the first NFC North game, as you said. All those games, all 6 of those games are still in front of the Vikings, so if they can take care of business in this one, hopefully that's kind of a springboard as we get forward for the rest of the season.
And I have heard a rumor around here that US Bank gets even more loud when it's an NFC North game, which after the first couple of games I've seen so far, I cannot wait. And I know someone else who cannot wait, which is the Lions team reporter, Dannie Rogers, who joins us on the show this week. Dannie, thanks for being here. I know it's your first year as the Lions team reporter, and it'll be your first trip to Minnesota.
It sure is. This is my rookie season. However, I'm from Detroit, so I'm pretty familiar with these Detroit Lions, the culture, the history of this franchise, but I've never been, to the state of Minnesota. So I'm excited to see Minneapolis, and I'm excited to see that beautiful US Bank Stadium.
Yeah, you mentioned you're new to the team. So is head coach Dan Campbell, somebody that is kind of, from our perspective, enjoying those memes where, biting kneecaps or whether he drinks a lot of coffee or something like that. But being from inside the facility or inside the franchise, who exactly is Dan Campbell?
Yeah, you've heard all of the memes. You've heard all of the bite-worthy sounds that have been all over SportsCenter and ESPN so far this season. Dan Campbell is authentic. He's a very optimistic head coach with very high expectations. He said after that loss to Chicago week 4 that he would love to be 4-0 at this point. However, he was prepared for however this season was going to go. I wouldn't say the Lions have bitten any kneecaps off just yet, like he had said in his opening presser, but they're so close, and Dan Campbell refuses to be discouraged. He refuses to let any of these players be anchors and bring this team down. He's only looking for optimism out of these Lions going forward.
Yeah, Danny, I think from the opposite side, I know that one person who has a lot of respect for Dan Campbell is Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer. And they actually crossed paths way back, probably almost 20 years ago back in Dallas when Campbell was the tight end and Zimmer was the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. And so, even though the Lions do not have a win yet, Zimmer said this week the Vikings have to be on their P's and Q's. It's not going to be some cakewalk game. So, I expect a good game Sunday, and definitely a lot of respect on the Vikings side for what Dan Campbell has done so far.
Yeah, and Coach Zimmer and Coach Campbell are two guys who believe that these teams are better than what their records are. The Lions have hung in a lot of those games, and by very close, especially that Ravens contest, Danny. So what does this offense have to do this week to get the victory?
Yeah, this offense, it's kind of hitting a few roadblocks. You have quarterback Jared Goff, who's coming into his first season with the Lions, but these Lions have to convert in the red zone. I mean, they took 5 trips against Chicago. They only converted on one of those trips. They were in the red zone their first 3 possessions in Chicago. They came away with no points. And those trips, they ended up in either turnovers, like forced fumbles. And you talk to this staff and these players, and a lot of questions were asked about, could you have kicked field goals in those red zone positions? But everything favored Dan Campbell going for it on those 4th down red zone conversions that just didn't hit. So converting in the red zone, they have not had trouble moving the chains. It's just getting it done when it all matters in those really crucial situations. And the Lions know that that's the emphasis going into this week, those 3rd downs, those 4th downs that they must have if they want to get some W's on the board this season.
Yeah, the Vikings always have a good red zone defense and a good 3rd down defense under Mike Zimmer, but the focus for Minnesota this week has to be on their run defense. The Vikings, I think, are they're only one of 6 teams that have allowed at least 100 rushing yards in every game so far this season, and that is not the standard around here, especially in the early to mid years of the Mike Zimmer era. So, stopping the run, and the Lions have 2 good running backs in DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, who they know well from being with Green Bay. Stopping the run is priority number 1 always for Minnesota, but especially this week, given the struggles that unit has had. One thing I will add is that Mike Zimmer is not overly concerned about that unit. He said it's just a couple plays here or there where if we can stop a long run here or a long run there, maybe the numbers don't look as bad. So going into Sunday's game, look for the Vikings defense to really be stout up front against the run.
Yeah, and on the other side of the ball for the Lions, they're ranked 24th in run defense, and it's a big, tall task when you think about a duo like Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison. So, Danny, what do they have to do to be prepared for that?
It really starts with first and second down efficiencies for these Lions. They have not been great on first and second downs. Third downs, they're ranked second in the league. They're only letting teams convert 28% of the time. And talking with defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, he said, if you would have told me before this season started that we would be second in the league in third downs and still 0-4, I wouldn't believe you. But he knows his team has to be more efficient, especially when it comes down to those explosive plays on second down. They let Justin Fields toss a 64-yard dime in the loss at Chicago. Aaron Glenn says that just can't happen again. But he also did quote Bill Parcells earlier today saying, how many times does the skunk have to hit you in the face for you to realize it's a skunk? I mean, usually it's just one time. But there's a revolving door around the secondary right now in Detroit. And it started when Jeff Okudah went down in San Francisco with a torn Achilles. So he's been out. So you have rookies in there. You have secondary trying to eliminate those explosive second down plays. And Lions know that that's where it starts. Third down is good to go. They have to work on those first and second downs.
And Danny, that's funny because the Vikings offense wants to play just into that. When the Vikings offense is flowing well, they're getting good runs on first down, getting good runs on second down, and maybe it's not even third down. Maybe it's another fresh set of downs, or it's only 3rd and 1 or 2. And where the Vikings have really struggled so far in 2021 is when they get into 3rd and long. And with how good the Lions are, like you said, on 3rd down, that is the exact opposite of what the Vikings want to do when their offense has the ball. So move the chains early. Hopefully they don't get to 3rd downs. We saw against Cleveland when it got to 3rd down, the Vikings offensive line struggled against a good Cleveland pass rush. So they have to be aware of that as well. So get some good chunk yardage early, avoid 3rd and long, and hopefully the offense gets clicking a little bit more than we saw in week 4.
That's too funny. Another Bill Parcells name drop this week. We heard Coach Zim mention him earlier this week. You love to see it. And something that I love to see in this show right now is getting your hot takes. It's the most fun part for me. So, Danny, give us a hot take about this Lions-Vikings matchup.
I wanted to be creative with this one. However, I'm keeping it simple. I would like to see this Lions team, when they bust their bottoms to get down into the red zone, to come up with some really good 4th down plays that the yardage is on their side. Maybe kick some field goals. I don't think it's a hot take. We like the term lukewarm take, you guys. So it's just when these Lions are working so hard, moving the chains down the field, and they reach those 4th down points. It's like, hey, maybe let's see if the field goal will work better in the favor. I mean, there's always going to be multiple angles coming into Dan Campbell on what he should do on 4th down plays, red zone plays, and he says he's been making the right calls. He has been. It's all been in his favor. However, 3 missed 4th down attempts in a game against Chicago, 4 field goals, 12 points, Lions lose by 10. So that's all I'm going to say. Let's kick some field goals.
And they say broadcasters can't do math.
Absolutely not. It's actually very tough. Yeah, that was some serious math right now.
Very, very quick on your feet there, Danny. All right, Eric, we'll put you quick on your feet. I like what you kind of said. It is a little bit of a lukewarm take, but you got anything a little spicier for us?
Yeah, I'll go with the spicy one, and this is something we've actually seen before, but I'm going to say that Danielle Hunter is going to have a multi-sack game against the Lions. That's probably lukewarm considering all the success he's had before against Detroit. Obviously, Danielle did not play last season with his neck injury, but the last time he faced Detroit, I think that was the game where he became the youngest player to hit 50 career sacks. So he has had plenty of previous success against the Lions. I think there was a 10-sack game for the Vikings, not for Danielle, but a 10-sack game for the Vikings as the defense, and I believe Danielle had 3.5 of those sacks. So he knows, how the Lions play and what they want to do. And the Lions' offensive line is pretty beat up right now, so I look for Danielle Hunter to have a pretty big game on Sunday.
Yeah, and that doesn't bode well for a beat up Lions offensive line as well. Well, Danny, the last part that we get to on Opposing Viewpoints is the Lions win if. We have you answer that question.
The Lions win if they move the chains like they've been doing, but it ends in scoring drives, field goals, touchdowns, anything to get points across that board. The Lions have not put together 60 complete minutes at all this season. They've had good sparks against San Fran, good sparks against Green Bay, against Baltimore until that 66-yard field goal went through the uprights. Chicago, probably less than, 20 minutes of good play. However, only 2 plays separated the Lions from getting the win in Chicago. That's what head coach Dan Campbell says. You take away those 2 plays, the result is much different. So Lions don't have to do much, but you guys did talk about it. The injuries across the offensive line. I will tell you that Penei Sewell was out practicing today. He was with a trainer on the sideline, but he was out there. He was dressed. Of course, you have Taylor Decker, who's been on IR, and then center Frank Ragnow, who went down against Chicago. He's also on IR. But getting Penei Sewell back is huge in helping these Lions move the chains and score some points.
Yeah, those problems sound a little bit too familiar there, Eric. But what do the Vikings win, or what do the Vikings need to do? Answer the question: Vikings win if.
The Vikings win if they keep Kirk Cousins clean, and that's something we did not see Sunday against Cleveland. And if you look at this Vikings offense overall, when Kirk has a clean pocket, and his teammates have said this numerous times in his career here in Minnesota and even this season, when the pocket is clean, there might not be a better quarterback in the entire league than Kirk Cousins. A lot of his teammates and coaches firmly believe that. But when the pocket gets muddied, as we saw against Cleveland, that's where Kirk tends to struggle, and that's where most quarterbacks tend to struggle too. So the Vikings need to keep Kirk clean. Garrett Bradbury talked about it again today. When there's no pressure on Kirk, he's great. But if we don't do our jobs and the pressure gets to him, that's when he and the entire offense tend to struggle. So the Vikings need to have a bounce-back game, especially from that offensive line up front, to keep Kirk clean and fling the ball around, get the ball to some skill players, and hopefully get the first division win of the season.
Well, this is going to be an interesting matchup, always is, when the Vikings welcome the NFC North rival Lions to town. And we're really excited for Lions team reporter Dannie Rogers to experience her first game at US Bank Stadium. Thank you so much for being on Opposing Viewpoints. We'll see you on Sunday, Dannie.
Thanks, you guys. Can't wait to see you.
Yeah, for Eric Smith, I'm Tatum Everett. Be sure to tune in or keep tuning in to Vikings Entertainment Network for all your content leading up to Sunday's kickoff. Skol Vikings. Thank you, Dannie.
Thank you, Dannie.